I am a design strategist and researcher working with the Mynd crew to figure out how to bring you a more interactive, more in-depth way of clarifying your thoughts. Right now, some ways that we do that is journaling, talking to friends and family, talking to therapists, things like that. And what we're looking to do is provide a safe space for you to write ideas and gain deeper insight into things that, maybe on your own you would take a lot of time to realize or come to. So on my screen here, I've got mynd.so/demo pulled up. I'm going to quickly open the browser a little wider. You don't need to see my face. I don't need to see my face. So we can see the full experience here. You can tell it's really minimal right now. This is absolutely our demo. In the background, we are working on building out a more robust interface. But this moment for us is really about learning, listening, and trying it on our own and seeing where the next features are going to be most valuable to everybody. So on the simple landing page, we find out what it's about, how it works. But the piece that I want to spend a moment talking about is just privacy policy. I know that for myself, and I know that I've heard this from many of our users, the privacy around things like a journal are really, really important. And anytime you start writing on a laptop or a phone, that feeling of wanting that privacy is kind of heightened, and I totally relate to that. The journal is a safe spot for you to write whatever it is that's on your mind with confidence that it's not for anyone else to read or have access to. And that's absolutely the team's philosophy on this. This should be the same as a pen and paper experience or a moment between a friend. So, for the demo especially right now, nothing is really hooked up. There's no way for us to save this information. It's absolutely safe. But moving forward, as we start to have accounts and your information is saved so that you can go back to it and read it and find information over time, in that case, we absolutely will honor and continue to honor that privacy and that data being yours and yours alone. So today, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to the demo. If you haven't already used Mynd, welcome. Here we are. Again, very basic, but just to get us up and going and get us using this product and seeing what it can do. And today I'm going to walk you through what one of my entries looks like through this UI. It's something that I've written before. I don't do great. Here, let me zoom back over so you can see my face again. I don't do great, on the fly talking, externally processing. I do a lot of my work quietly with myself writing. But imagining that you came here and you didn't have maybe an entry that you wanted to copy and paste and analyze, but instead you wanted to just sit down and process something. I know that the blank page can be a little daunting. So some things that I often write about are, my dreams. In the morning, a lot of times, I take a little moment with my coffee and I write about any of the dreams that I remember. It's a fun exercise. It's something I carry from childhood when I would come down in the morning and my mom would ask me what I dreamed about, and we would all talk about our dreams and kind of analyze them and find what they might be a representation of in our waking life. And so that exercise of writing it down helps me remember it and helps me actually think about it through the day. And if there's anything that maybe isn't super obvious on the surface of the dream, but actually, as I think more about it throughout the day, teaches me something about what I should be paying attention to in my waking life. That's one thing that I enjoy. Other things that I write about, people or challenges in life, in work, things that, in the back of my mind I'm kind of ruminating on or circling on. A lot of times it helps me to externalize that, and I'm not always ready to externalize that to another person. And so that's where paper is a really safe place for me to process without judgment and get my thoughts in order before I then vocalize that to maybe the person that's involved with it, or the situation that needs some sort of direction to it. I can do that, between me, myself, and I. And then the third kind of way or thing that I like to write, which is what I'm about to show you here, is almost from the perspective of giving myself advice. So I'll take a topic that I am seeking an answer or some sort of direction on, and I will look to myself for advice. So you'll notice that the tense of the writing isn't first person anymore, but instead as if I am writing to myself about the topic. And for me, this is just an interesting way of maybe removing some of my own emotion or bias towards the situation, and taking that outsider's perspective on things when I feel like I'm too close to the topic, or maybe not finding the solution on my own. So here is not what I was looking for. Let me go ahead and grab the entry here. And hopefully you're not seeing all of that. Here we go. So in this entry, more or less, I am kind of reflecting on what it means to express my needs, and what expressing my needs might actually lead to in a positive way, both for my work and personal life. And we'll actually get a summary from Mynd here in a minute, but while it's loading, I'm kind of just looking at how I react to things, how I express my needs, how do I advocate for myself, and giving myself advice on that topic. So let's see what it says as a summary. The writer is exploring how to better understand their needs and emotions and create productive responses to their feelings. I think that's pretty good. I really like this summary feature because sometimes we are so close to what we've written that having it reflected back in more simple language can kind of give you that moment of like, oh yeah, exactly, that's what I was talking about. Or maybe it doesn't summarize, or it doesn't capture the nuance of what you meant, and that's also a moment of clarifying what you're thinking, because it forces you to have a reaction of some sort. Similar to when you're in a dialogue with a friend about something and they mirror back what they're hearing, and you're like, oh, I feel so heard, or no, you don't have it quite right, and here's why. It's a really productive kind of mechanism. So as simple as it is, I really like the summary feature here. The next piece that we have is around emotions. So it pulls out what emotions are being expressed in the entry. So we have curiosity, self-awareness, self-reflection, acceptance, and growth. These are interesting just to see, again, even in the topic of this entry, I'm looking at ways of kind of better expressing my emotions or naming things. And so you could imagine, or I can imagine, maybe I'm writing something and I'm processing something and I want help articulating what it is that I'm feeling. This might be a great tool for that. Then we've got keywords, and we were actually just talking about this as a team today, the use of keywords. And where I see the value of this is actually kind of in future iterations. I'm not sure right now that I get much out of keywords kind of in isolation. But as we move forward, as we move into the beta, we will have the ability to save entries and save this analysis. So over time, I could flip through my different entries, and I could kind of see at a glance what the entry was about and see what the keywords to pull out are, and start to, more easily recognize patterns in my writing or in the topics that I'm writing about. And I think that would be super valuable, because right now, I don't know about you guys, but when I journal or when I write, it's interesting to flip back through entries and stuff, but it's really time consuming to go back through and really read everything that I've written. So if I had kind of the Cliff Notes version of the different things that I've written, and that could be a mechanism of processing, I think that would be really, really interesting, or will be really, really interesting as we get there. The final piece here is where a lot of the value comes in my opinion. We've got questions. These are intended to, help me dig a layer deeper. So if I'm in the mood to write about something and I feel like I've come to the natural conclusion of whatever it is that I'm processing, maybe I just need a little more prompting to dig a little deeper. Or maybe I'm just in the mood to say, that's it, I'm done. In which case, I can leave these questions where they are, and maybe, again, in future when we're saving this, I could return to it when I'm in a headspace to dig deeper. Right now, like I mentioned earlier, I do my best thinking kind of quietly and individually, so I'm not going to be able to answer these, live on camera. But I think I'll do a part 2 video where I take maybe one of these as a prompt and I show you what it's like to respond to one of these questions and then analyze my response to that question. But let's take a look. We've got 1, what feelings are you aware of in this new space? 2, what do you think is the most important lesson you have learned so far? And 3, how can you turn your feelings into something productive? I really like that last question. I don't know if someone has asked me something like that before, and that would be definitely one that I would sit on and spend some time thinking about. And I think I would walk away understanding something valuable about myself and how I can operate in the world a little differently. So, like I said, I think maybe a good part 2 to this, if folks end up being interested, is for me to respond to maybe that third question and walk us through what does that look like. So thanks for taking the time today to listen in. I hope this was valuable. If you do find yourself using Mind, I'm going to make a quick plug to leave feedback. I know that myself, I read all of them. Bert definitely reads all of them. And we really take it into consideration. It's really helping us. We're a small company. We're bootstrapping our way into this. We're really excited about the vision that we have. And interacting more with the folks who are using this, even finding value in it, anywhere that we can learn, let's work together, let's collaborate and make this something really cool. So thanks for the time.